welcome to the May 2nd, 2023 Board of Commissioners meeting for Blue Earth County. If you can, please rise and say pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got the agenda review, Bob?
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
All right.
I'll move the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same. Thank you. All right. Public comment portion of the Blue Earth County Board meeting allows an opportunity for citizens to address the county board in a public setting. Mr. Roger Betchel
Close, Beckel. That's close enough.
has
That's
requested time on the agenda to address the county board today. This is a public hearing meeting with a set agenda. Therefore, we ask the public to limit comments to 5 minutes or less. And I have asked our county administrator to keep time and provide you with a 1-minute warning. Remember, the county board will not take action on your comments during this period. Mr. Beckel, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Good morning, Roger Beckel, 308 South Agency Street, formerly 312 South Agency Street, Eagle Lake. So I'm here to discuss snow removal from County State Aid Highway 27 in Eagle Lake within city limits. I'm in city limits on the county block section. We've been there since 1990, my family and I, and we've always removed the snow from the sidewalk in a timely fashion as required by the city ordinance. The older design of the road had about a 10-foot boulevard and a 4-foot sidewalk. The new reconstruction of 2021, complete in 2021, reduced the boulevard to about 3 feet, sidewalk widened to 6 feet. So our issue becomes, how do we remove snow from the sidewalk, hard-packed snow and ice from the sidewalk that's been moved there from the street. And we've been dealing with this for 2 years now, been working with the county and with the city. We've approached both. We saved ice chunks this last year in a cooler. Some of the ice chunks are about the size of a football. And these are on the sidewalk, mixed in with new snow. The first year, 2021, the first season out, the first snowfall out, we damaged our walk-behind snowblower. It actually picked up ice chunks, got stuck in the impeller, bent the shaft, broke the gearbox, and killed the unit. It was no longer feasible to repair, so we replaced it a little over $1,100. This year, same thing happened with a 44-inch snowblower. Ice chunks and hard-packed snow moved onto the sidewalk. We picked those up, and it bent the paddles and the impeller and bent the backing plate. It's another $1,000. Our point being that we cannot keep moving the hard-packed snow and ice. I get home after work, this is frozen on the sidewalk. Our options to get this off are quite limited. We use residential equipment. We started using an ATV. We put a plow on that. We were breaking the mounts on the plow on that as well. We can't get through it. Our neighbor across the street uses his pickup and a snow plow, a pickup and a plow to get through. He can't even get through it. He has to make several passes moving off to the side. So what we're asking, and I did work with Mr. Tilges this year, and he listened and he was trying to be part of a solution. He said, let me talk to the operators, see if they can slow down. That was 100% effective. That did not move the snow and ice onto the sidewalk. It stayed, the boulevard is really short, there's not much of a buffer there, and I'm sure there'd be more expenses incurred by having that process year long, but it did save us from breaking any more equipment. However, not all the operators slowed down, so we still had the same debris going on the sidewalk, and that's when we damaged the 44-inch wide snowblower and hydrostatic drive tractor this season. So it works if we follow the same process. If it doesn't, then our expenses keep increasing. Now this is a 60-year life road. So if I average out $1,000 a year, I'll spend $60,000 just on removing the snow, trying to keep my equipment going. Now I did resort to a tractor and loader last year and this year, which I had to do. I couldn't get through the material. That did not break down, but now we're talking about something that's bigger than residential. It's industrial grade. There are 40-some units along that highway. Can we all afford to have industrial grade equipment to move this stuff off the sidewalk, we can deal with the fresh snow. It's the stuff from the street that's moved from the street onto the sidewalk that we can't get through. And I'm hoping you see that it's not reasonable to put that on us as residents to clear this. It's a hardship, a major hardship for the life of the road. So 60 years we'll be dealing with this. A few of us in the neighborhood try to clear roughly a 4-block section. So it starts from down by the post office down through the double block and the next block yet. So we're clearing about 4 blocks. So we're trying to help the rest of the residents as well. And some of us are elderly. There are a number of elderly along this whole section, this corridor.
1 minute remaining.
So we're trying to help. I'm going to ask you to please, if you can, not put the snow from the street, the snow and ice, onto the sidewalks. That helps us keep it clear for safety for everyone else. And I appreciate your time for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Roger. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments, and that we will be talking with our Public Works about that. Thank you. Drainage. Greg.
Morning, Craig.
Good morning. I got 2 items this morning. First one is regarding a petition for partial abandonment on County Ditch 26. The Blue Earth County Ditch 26's watershed is more than 1,700 acres in size and is in McPherson and Little Rag Townships. County Drainage staff received a petition for partial abandonment on February 6, 2023, pursuant to Minnesota Statute 103.806. The Drainage Authority must set a public hearing to consider the petition. The hearing must be noticed by mail to petitioners, owners of property, and the political subdivisions likely to be affected by the proposed abandonment. At today's meeting, the Blue Ridge County Drainage Authority, we are requesting the Drainage Authority to approve the findings in order, setting the hearing date for June 20th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same? Passes.
And the second item, we have regarding a petition for improvement of County Ditch 56. Blue Earth County Ditch 56 watershed is more than 8,500 acres in size and is in Garden City and Lincoln Townships. Drainage staff received a petition for improvement on August 22 of 2022. On September 13th, 2022, the Drainage Authority appointed Charles J. Brandel, engineer of ISG, as the project engineer. Mr. Brandel was ordered to prepare a preliminary survey report. The preliminary survey report was filed with the Blue Earth County Property and Environmental Resources Department on February 8th, 2023. At today's meeting, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, we are requesting the Drainage Authority to approve the findings in order, setting the hearing date for June 20th, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Craig.
you.
Thanks, Craig.
All right. Public Works, Ryan.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Ryan.
Well, I know that Ryan has been busy not only with upcoming construction, but also with the state transportation bill that's going through, because both myself and Ryan have been contacting our legislators and our senators on issues. So I thank you for all the work that you've been doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your work as well. Yes, it's been an incredibly busy legislative session. My time with the county is in this position, and previously, as well as my role with the County Engineers Association as co-chair of the legislative committee. I've never seen a session this busy, so it's been a lot of work, but a lot of things are getting pushed through, and we're just going to keep our fingers crossed that this transportation bill brings us some additional funding and relief is much needed. So we'll jump into our Public Works agenda action items. First item is consideration of bids for state aid project 007-626-019, which is County Stated Highway 26 reconstruction from CSAH 57, which is North Riverfront Drive, to Minnesota Highway 22. This includes trail along the south side of the road, urbanization of the existing 2-lane rural road to a 3-lane urban section with curb and gutter and storm sewer. The engineer's estimate was $3.8 million, and our low bidder was Minnesota Paving Materials at $4,517,905.70, which is 18.74% over our engineer's estimate. We analyzed several of the project overrun factors, and I will hand out some information for the board to look at. Project. So the first item coming around is the overrun factors. The second item coming around is the project bid abstract. So as we began to break down the project bid abstract to really try to get a better understanding of why, I think one of probably the first things that's important to emphasize with the board is that this project had some complexity with respect to overall project drainage. The existing project had various drainage points distributed throughout the project. One of them ran to the north, and after we televised and found out that this 24 or 30-inch concrete storm sewer pipe that took about a third to a half of the project drainage actually ran underneath the mobile home park, and actually ran underneath one of their buildings, got built over the top of it. And it discharged into this failing, highly eroding ravine. So replacing that pipe would have required going around the building, replacing all of the pavement in the mobile home park that we would disturb with the storm sewer trench, and then effectively putting in a large drop structure and a dissipation point just to discharge a portion of the project drainage. Additionally, other portions of the project drained into ravines that were unstabilized. And so as we started designing the project initially, I think we spoke months ago about our previous discharge point of design was into a ravine between two homes. One of the homes was in probate after the landowners passed. That required significant cut and deforestation of the ravine and trying to stabilize that outfall. And then the water still had to come around several bends of the ravine. We later learned that there were several homes along that stretch that were already having ravine erosion issues. And so we had significant concern about being perceived as adding to those problems. So ultimately, we knew it was going to add a cost to the project, but we decided to carry the 42-inch storm sewer further to the west, to the western portion of the project. So it's pretty rare to have to discharge all of your drainage to one location at the very end of the project. And we were able to dump the water into a location where it can be stabilized easily, it can be accessed for maintenance, and we can forego and avoid future ravine repair projects. So we thought that was a pretty important thing when, again, we look at these 50-year life plus of a road. So trying to mitigate future risk incurring costs today. So when we look at that, we do note that the drainage, which is listed on the precast concrete items, we attempted to account for that. However, those items came in considerably higher, as we've discussed previously. The market on precast concrete, large pipes and manholes and things of that nature is fairly volatile still. Just a year ago, it was very difficult to even get manholes and pipes, and you just prayed that they'd show up to your job. We're still having severe delay with box culverts. So if we look at the spreadsheet, the overrun price comparison spreadsheet, you can see that those drainage items came in at about $350,000 over the engineer's estimate. Additionally, the grading items, this is an urban project that's much less efficient than a 5-mile long rural reconstruction project. So with that being said, while we tried to account for that, the items still came in $153,000 over our engineer's estimate. The base items, which is the aggregate base and granular materials, also came in about the same amount higher. And the bituminous pavement, we should have bumped up the prices in our estimate considerably to reflect that urban, less efficient paving as well. Those came in about $182,000. So the total over the engineer's estimate is $841,938.80, as is detailed on the spreadsheet. We did receive 5 bids. MPM was not the sole bidder. And they ranged from 18.7, which was Minnesota Paving and Materials at the 4.5 million, to the high bid of Hazelton Construction at 5.22 million, which is 37.3% over our engineer's estimate. So given the time of year, I don't know that rebidding it is going to net us lower prices. One additional consideration that I want to bring up and make the board aware of is that W. Lorenz Construction emailed us following bid opening on April 26th, claiming to have electronically submitted a bid lower than Minnesota Paving and Materials bid. However, it never came through, it never showed up. So we investigated that matter with the Bid Vault software, the electronic bidding software that we use with their vendor, RT Vision, who we work with quite a bit. They provided an email documenting that a bid was indeed submitted by W. Lorenz Construction, but then within about 30 to 45 seconds it was withdrawn. And the withdrawal process isn't just one accidental click. It actually, and they were able to verify that it came from the same IP address, so it was the same user. It's not just one click and you accidentally undo it. It brings up a verification page to say, are you sure you want to do this, and this is permanent. They provided us the documentation of that process in that email. I'd be more than happy to share with the board if they'd like to see it. But ultimately the bid was withdrawn, so it was multiple times it was clicked to withdraw the bid. They were claimed, they did not acknowledge that, however that's what the software vendor informed us of. So with that being said, we did share that information and confer with the county attorney's office. Speaking with Pat yesterday, I think based on his recommendation and our discussion, I'm confident that we can move forward with the bid award to Minnesota Paving Materials. I'd like to answer any questions on that.
Any questions, or somebody wants to make a motion?
I'll move approval of Minnesota Paving Materials.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same? It passes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The second action item is consideration of our 2023 CRS bituminous materials bids. This year we received 2 bids. We were working through some legalities. I think maybe you recall previously, last year Flint Hills provided a bid. However, we were forced to reject it because they began striking out the language in our proposal and our insurance requirements and other things, which was confirmed with MnDOT and confirmed with, I was very confident in that we were not going to accept their bid. We tried to work with their project management to work through those and see if we could find changes between the two of us. However, they were not very open with communication, so it was difficult to communicate with them back and forth. So we're still going to continue to try to work with them to get them back into the mix because they view themselves as a vendor, not a contractor. We view it differently because when they come on our jobs, they are providing materials and filling that role for the MnDOT spec. So we received 2 bids this year, Jebro and HG Meigs for the CRS2 asphalt emulsion. One item to note is we did add the CRS2 polymer modified emulsion asphalt, which we typically don't utilize. We're going to be utilizing that on our very high volume roads that we plan to chip seal this year. So that polymer modification just gives it a little bit more durability at a higher price. So if you're looking and see that the CRS2P emulsified is not on last year's, you are correct. The total bid is $652,850, and I would recommend award to HG Meigs.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same? Passes.
Thank you. Project updates. CSAH 16 from the Le Sueur River to CSAH 9D. The utility relocations are happening now. We've got all the right-of-way out there. Construction is set to begin Thursday, May 11th with road closure. And the detour will be very similar. It'll be effectively the opposite of what the County Road 1 detour was. So they'll use CASA 35 over to CASA 1 and then back on 90. So the same loop, just different road being closed this time. Contractor intends to start at the midpoint of the project and then work their way to the north, and then when that's completed, they'll progress to the south.
It's starting this week, or?
Next Thursday, the
Next
11th of
Thursday.
May. CASA 13 from US 169 to CASA 1. Plans are approved for construction. Right-of-way acquisition is nearing completion. Jack just told me this morning he thinks he's got about 2 weeks left on it. So we've got that in a very good place. The utility relocations can begin, however, they're not likely to completely happen until late 2023 or early 2024. We've given them directive to begin them, however, we want to ensure that we're not disrupting crop harvest, so a lot of them will likely have to happen late in the fall as we widen the right-of-way slightly. Well, as we begin to look at that, I think we're likely to try to bid it this fall or even perhaps late summer. We're going to confer with area contractors to try to determine what timing could net us the best potential pricing. And likely the work would all begin in 2024 because of the utility relocations, etc. It would provide the bridge contractor an opportunity if they wanted to start during the winter with bridge removal so that they could be in position to replace the bridge relatively quickly and have that done prior to really the grading kicking off, or at least getting it very close. So we want to offer them some flexibility by bidding it early now that we've got it ready to go. The tree clearing would also have to happen over the course of November 1st through March 31st. CASA 26, the project, as we discussed, was bid to start on June 5th and will be completed by late fall. The east portion of the trail will be left out of the 2023 construction until that single parcel of land can be acquired for the trail construction, and that may be in 2024. CASA 11 from the West County line to CASA 6, design is at 75%, and a project open house meeting will be scheduled. However, I think we're going to look into most likely June to make sure that planting season has come to close so we can get all of those landowners in and speak with them. That project should be pretty straightforward. CASA 82 Victory Drive from South Hoffman Road to Fair Street. The design is beginning with some traffic analysis of the Main Street and Marwood Drive intersections, like where Victory Bowl is. So we've been looking at some crash data and traffic at those intersections, trying to just discuss access, etc. And CASA 15 Bridge replacement still on schedule for bid this early summer. Another update, the City of Eagle Lake was awarded transportation alternative funds in the amount of $475,982 for fiscal year 2027 federal funding, which will cover 80% of the cost to construct a new trail along CASA 27 and a sidewalk along 211th Street to provide for greater bike and ped mobility. Again, that covers 80% of the total construction cost. The city and the county agreed to be a project sponsor, so requiring that we will have to administer the construction contract because of our delegated contract process authority with MnDOT. So we know our small cities can't take in and distribute construction federal dollars. That goes through us. And additionally, we'll be responsible for 50% of the remaining construction cost per our policy. We are looking at also applying for Minnesota Department of Natural Resources local trails grant to assist with the other 20%. So very similar funding cocktail to what we did with the Stolzman Trail in Mankato, which ended up paying for nearly 100% of the construction cost and engineering costs. So good news for the City of Eagle Lake. Right now they're proposing that the trail go on the east side of the road, so there will be some work to be done in detailed design as we try to figure out just how it fits within the road right of way. CASA 10 and 72 in Vernon Center. The city is still waiting on the bonding bill passage to be passed so they can proceed with the project, which is still likely to be at least 2 to 3 weeks away. Once the city receives passage of the bonding bill, they'll host a special meeting to approve bidding of the project, and then that'll go into the bidding cycle, which means bids will likely not be open until mid to late June. Following bid opening, it requires USDA R&D approval which could take up to 1 to 2 months. So the city's really losing the majority of the 2023 construction season. They'll be lucky to have 2 to 3 months left. They're beginning to prepare and plan for that accordingly. The lion's share of the work will have to happen in 2024. And unfortunately, it's looking like the work on Casat 10 east of Highway 22, which we wanted done in 2023, is not going to be able to happen. So there's going to be some turmoil in District 4, Commissioner, with traffic issues while they're reconstructing that segment of 10 and while we're working on our piece of 13. So we've tried to avoid that, but unfortunately the stars just have not aligned in our favor. We'll continue to try to mitigate that to the best of our abilities. We are going to be setting up a meeting with the city's consultant engineer to discuss how we schedule those projects. Maintenance activity updates, we did provide a map in the county board packet with just showing you around the county where we'll be doing different activities. So we have several locations where we'll be doing riprap and pipe replacements that are noted in the purple circles. And then our chip seals are broken out by the type of stone and or whether or not they'll be fog sealed. So on our very, very busy roads, we prefer to use fog stone, which is a very durable limestone. It's more angular. We get that out of Iowa, actually. And on our very, very busy roads, we actually fog seal over the top of that because it kind of glues the rock down even better and provides better visibility for the striping. And then our moderate traffic level roads, we will just utilize the fog stone without the fog seal, so without the second layer of asphalt over the top. And then our lower traffic volume roads, we'll utilize P-rock, so you can see those in the lighter blue lines shown on the county map. And as you look at that, there are 41 total miles of seal coat being performed this year or planned this year. And we will also be mowing out in entirety the central third of the county, as shown between the two green lines. You have to answer any questions on that if there are any. Hearing none, I'll move on. An additional item that I brought up for discussion was the IIJA federal infrastructure bill. Carbon reduction grant application project candidates. The project applications are due on May 19th and include a variety of different modes that carbon could theoretically be reduced according to the grant. As we started to look at those different projects that would be eligible, we decided to try to apply for replacement of 2 timber pedestrian bridges on the Red Jacket Trail. Bridges R0410 and R0411 are both old timber bridges that are in very poor condition. They're on both sides of County Road 33 if you're on the trail. And we're going to apply, that would be 80% federal funding for replacement of those 2 bridges. So we're going to take a shot at that. And then additionally, the District 7 county engineers, 13 counties, are working on considering developing and submitting a joint application to lease and obtain charging stations. So lease 13 F-150 Lightnings or other EV pickups and charging stations. And just to get each county would then get 1 EV pickup to utilize under this grant, but we would all apply together for it. So it's an interesting approach. There's some requirements in IIJA that require Buy America, and they tell you EVs are eligible for these funds, but when you look at EVs, they aren't American made when it comes to the minerals and the metals that are in batteries. So you can't buy the vehicles with it, you can lease them. So maybe that's all right with an EV, especially trying one out for the first 3 to 5 years. So we're working through the details on that, and we're hoping to submit an application for that. Again, they're due May 19th, so we're in the middle of it.
That's an interesting concept, but there isn't a pickup made that's made completely in the United States.
Correct.
I mean, you can come out and say, well, it's because of the battery, but the thing is,
The assembly and everything
the assembly,
else.
there's parts in any vehicle
Yep.
that, you know,
They're not made here.
and there's parts, like Toyota actually makes a lot of their parts right here in the United States, but they're not in
A lot of
American.
the language in the IIJA Buy America conflicts with this grant program.
Oh my
and you're
gosh.
getting different messages, so we're trying to kind of weed
Yeah, how
through
can
it.
you buy America when there's not an American-made vehicle
That's-
out there, period?
Yeah, well, we've seen that on other folks that have applied for these funds through the MAPO as well, and they've run into the same hurdle. And the problem is the automakers don't know, I don't think they've got the confidence yet to lease a vehicle for 3 to 5 years and then take it back. In all honesty, that's from the conversations we've had.
I get it.
So, all right.
Good information.
Last item for discussion is the Rapidan Dam memorandum. This is relatively brief. It's been, unfortunately, fairly quiet on the Rapidan Dam front. On April 6th, we submitted the revised emergency action plan. That's an annual requirement, and it effectively just updated contact information within the AP. It was accepted by the FERC, and it has been distributed to staff. On April 13th, the FERC notified the county of their condition assessment rating for the dam. The National Inventory of Dams, the NID, condition assessment rating for the dam is poor based on the NID definitions. No subsequent follow-up was requested or provided, so we left that one as is. And then last but not least, on April 14th, 2023, the exemption surrender application was submitted to the FERC and was subsequently accepted. I've heard nothing else on that yet. So the ball is in motion. It's really in their court at this point. And again, with item 4, we appear to be on schedule of what we planned previously and discussed previously. However, at this point, again, this is all, at this point in time, in the FERC's discretion to move forward. So
All right.
that concludes my report.
And thanks for all your work on that too, because it's a lot of time consumption on one project with the dam. And I know you and your staff spend a lot of time on working with the FERC and working with the different stuff, so thank you for
It's
that.
very challenging. They didn't, I didn't get that equation in college to learn how to deal with hydroelectric dam politics.
Dams don't come up very often.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to answer any other questions from public comment or anything else if you'd like.
Thank you for inviting us to the safety meeting the other day. I think we all had a good time walking around, looking at the shop, and appreciate that.
Walking around that shop was eye-opening.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Mr. McDermott, I believe we have you up.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you.
Morning, Pat.
You'll see some of the numbers are up in some areas. Child protection numbers are up again with the termination of parental rights. One thing that I would like to point out, coming out of COVID and whatnot, the school districts are more about making sure that the kids are back in school and their butts in the seat, so to speak, is what I've been told. And with that, knowing that, I knew that our truancy numbers were going to go up, which affects not only our office. As of yesterday, there was 100, but as I was sitting here just looking at emails, there's a couple more that are coming in. So we're going to have another spike in truancy petitions, which will increase the workload for community corrections as well. But again, it's a worthwhile cause. In the great scheme of things, as a reminder, if we keep, if we keep one kid in school versus a high school dropout, they'll make over $1 million more in their lifetime. So that's definitely a benefit. If anybody has any questions, concerns, or comments, please let me know. Otherwise, I don't have much to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pat.
All right, and we'll go to our administration. Bob?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the first item is the county board minutes for April 18th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same? That passes.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
I'll move the bills.
Second.
I got a motion and a second on the bills for 2 weeks. Any discussion?
Any questions?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed the same? That passes.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 7 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. As you saw today, we have a lot of new employees, and so this agenda actually reflects some of the activity in our HR department. I think this is the first time I've seen a 2-page HR agenda with all filling positions. I don't believe there's any resignations here, so that's encouraging. But I'll run through the positions that have been filled, including a clerical specialist. This is a temporary part-time position in the Sheriff's Department to help process some of the conceal and carry permit processing. Then we filled a number of positions at the landfill as a part of the county's takeover of that operation. So those are listed in items B through F, and you see the various positions there. And then a little further down, item G is filling a position in the library, a part-time librarian. Item H is filling a on-call library clerk, as is item I. So we filled a number of positions in the library. Then we filled a 911 telecommunicator position in our sheriff's office, as well as a correctional officer in the jail. And also filled a senior account clerk in our finance and license center division. And lastly, filled the emergency management director position. This is a new position budgeted in the sheriff's department. So I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have on any of these filling of positions. All right. Item number 8 in your packet then is the first quarter donation. So asking the board to accept those donations. Just running through them real quick, we continue to see a fair amount of activity in terms of donations to our library, but we also did receive a couple of donations to our clubhouse in our human services department. And then a couple of fairly large donations to the sheriff's department for both a canine purchase at some point in the future and dive equipment. So moving on then, we did receive some funding for the library in terms of capital from the Mankato Area Foundation. And then lastly, a small donation to our Veterans Band Capital Fund. In terms of in-kind donations, then you'll see a number of different donations again to the library, as well as volunteer time given to the library. So at this time, I would ask the county board if they were willing to make a motion to accept these donations.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and second to accept the donations. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed the same. That passes.
That's all I have for you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Now, let's see here. So we will go to our discussion of what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks. Mark, you want to start out?
Oh, it's not a lot. And one committee had to cancel because it didn't get a quorum. I was available. But anyway, then really just had the highway department annual safety meeting. That went really well. And yeah, moving right along.
Okay, Kip.
My report is relatively short too, Mr. Chair. I had a few SECB meetings and committee meetings online, a lot of things going on there. And then just several things with our VRBO over the weekend, a lot of activity there. Of course, the phone calls and ongoing issues with the compost site, and then the safety meeting, which I thought was very informative as we go out and talk with some of the staff out there. So, looking forward to the open house tonight for the highway shop.
Kevin.
Since our April 18th board meeting, I also participated in the Public Works Safety. On April 22nd, I participated in ISG's Lake Conference. They had over 80 people from all over southern Minnesota. As we talked about working together on that, April 24th was our NACO Ag Policy meeting. And then on April 28th was the Wasua River One Watershed One Plan. We approved as a policy committee to submit that plan to Bowser. So we now starts a 30-day final review by the state agencies. After that 30-day period, it will go before the Bowser board and will be ready to get started as we look at implementation. Our policy committee, as a collaboration, went through our bylaws and some of the operating procedures. We're at a final draft stage of those, and those have been or will be submitted to all the county attorneys, administrators of the 4 counties for their review. So that concludes, I guess, MFS. River Hills appreciated Ryan helping out on some of the concerns there with some erosion and road issues, but primarily been MFS and Public Works. So that completes my report.
Thank you. Patty?
Okay, I too have experienced MFS, and I attended the AMC board meeting on April 21st, just because I was there. I had a SHAC meeting on the 27th, and attended the safety meeting, which was amazing how poor that building is.
You need a new one.
Yeah, like a long time ago.
Right. Well, for myself, after the last board meeting, I had a Highway 169 corridor annual spring board meeting. It was held up in Shakopee. Then I had a TDS on Thursday, the 20th, and a NACO RAC meeting in the afternoon. Friday we had our AMC board meeting, and let's see, I had a finance budget meeting on Monday the 24th for TDS. We had a NACO Justice and Public Safety Committee meeting on the 25th, and myself and my wife read to the children at the library on the 27th.
Nice.
So that, except for yesterday, we had another budget meeting for TDS yesterday morning for TDS. Just trying to get, the next meeting's going to be when I'm gone, so they're not going to have me there because it's on the 15th. Other than that, this afternoon I have a NACO membership meeting, and of course our Public Works meeting this evening. And that's the end. And unless anybody has anything else, we
Move to
can
recess.
move to recess.
Second?
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Passes. All right.